That better for you?
Hey,
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you today?
Doing well.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. So, last month you put up your fifth studio album, Verloren. So, can you tell me a bit about the songwriting and production behind the album?
Yeah, we started writing for that album. I believe we had the track Dissolve written in 2017, maybe the end of that year. And we kind of worked on it through 2018, and then 2019. Like it kind of took a couple years to put it all together. And then obviously with the global pandemic and everything included with that, it was, just stretched that process out a bit. But we basically had finished up that record right before, everything kind of went to shit.
Yes, like pandemic was terrible, terrible. It has struck us all over the world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you guys are known for putting up concepts for each album. So what was the concept you have put behind this?
So the Verloren concept is, it's not necessarily like a concept that we're driven towards, more so than just a feeling or a general, it just depends on what each of us are going through and experiencing at that time. And with this one, we just took on Rafe and Dan on this new record. Mm-hmm. So they brought a lot of different influence and energy to what we were doing. And we started throwing around the idea of this like concept of missing. So the album title Verloren, can translate to missing something or someone or loss, or, which kind of ties into what Withered has always been about, the loss of loved ones, or, not being able to go back through a door that you've crossed through, these kind of different things. So with this one, we really wanted to focus on that feeling of things missing, whether, like I said, a loss of a loved one, or, a certain particular time in your life, or anything like that. So we really focused on that this time around.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And the cover art of the album looks fantastic. So what was the idea behind it, and what was the thought process you put behind the cover art?
So, we've been dealing with Mr. Paul Romano. He's been our art director, and he's been working with us since day one, the first Withered release. So, we have a real special bond with him, and we've always kind of let him take the reins with that. Like, we'll send him, he'll be one of the first people that gets any music that we put together. Yeah. And then we'll basically say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is the idea, the loose concept behind it. Like, do what you do. So, so with this one, same thing. He's been working on kind of creating this mythos and all these characters for us through the years. And, he wanted to continue that. The only difference this time is that he built, that is an actual art piece. That's a structure he built himself, and casted the statue himself. And he took the photos. It's all like photo. The only thing that really was changed from the original was just a little bit of color enhancement. But other than that, we let him just kind of take the music and create something.
It sounds good. Sounds good to me. And on August 6th, you guys have planned for a release show in your hometown, Atlanta, Georgia. So what are the plans that we lined up for that day?
Why that day? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, some of the plans that you have made, something different or anything different you have planned for the day.
Oh, well, we basically, the album came out the 25th of last month, and no venues are, open at the time. So we have been talking with a local venue that we're that we play a lot, and they're finally starting shows. And so that was basically the quickest date we could get worked out to be able to do a, CD album release. And yeah, so we basically just figured it out with them, and we were able to lock down this date. And I'd say, I think we're playing 4 tracks off of the new record in the set list. Yeah. So yeah, it's really exciting to be able to play that live for people, especially after waiting this long since we, finished the record in 2020, in the early part of 2020. Yeah. So yeah, pretty excited about that. And we have our friends, Sadistic Ritual, a local band, who are good friends of ours, and they're opening the show. And then a band, Yautja, from Nashville, who are also really good friends of ours, and we're really, really honored to have them. It's actually their first show back too, since their record was released. So it's pretty exciting.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And I had the opportunity to listen to the album in complete. I believe when it comes to the outcome and the quality that you guys give, there's no compromise. You guys always deliver the best in all your albums. And this is much powerful. And there's a lot of different things that musically you have put into this album. And how do you feel about the outcome of this album?
The response has been great, like it's, again, it's a bit difficult with the way things are. And, a lot of bands have put together some really, really great music during this time. This one's really special for us because it's kind of taking us back to our roots, quote unquote. Like, we definitely wanted there to be, like, if you look back, the album Grief Relic, Mike and I wrote most of that record, and we were unsure whether or not we were going to continue as a band because we had lost 2 of our members at that point, at the end of 2012. And there was a time there where we weren't sure if we were going to continue, but we realized that this band for us is, Mike and I, it's just too powerful of an energy to push to the side. So we were able, luckily, to get a couple musician friends of ours to help us out, finish writing and recording that record. And, that was, I guess Mike and I tried to fill in all the gaps. It was a very spastic, very dense record, not a lot of like slow moments, a lot of just fast, go, part. So with this one, with the addition, like I said, with Rafe and Dan joining, they brought in a whole new element, whereas Dan writes a little bit more of the crusty punk, grindier stuff. That's kind of his roots back in the days when he was in Leech Milk. And then you have Rafe, who we've known for years, and he's actually a guitar player. But he joined us, with the intentions of being the bass player. He started out just filling in some shows and ended up joining. And so we've always had like a very strong bass. The bass is like the lead instrument kind of with us. Like there's a lot of bass solos and like a lot of melody is achieved through the bass guitar. So it worked out really well for him being a guitar player and transitioning to playing bass. But yeah, so with this record, we really took it back to, we wanted to have more of that doom and that weight, instead of just all the grindy, blasty parts and stuff like that. We really wanted to spread it out and get back to like Memento Mori, our first record, which was a little bit more of that funeral doom vibe and some darker, slower, dredgy stuff like that. And so I think we achieved that pretty well with this one.
That sounds good. And the band is always known for the core values that keeps evolving all the time, and that you don't stick to the same thing or the same kind of music. You just keep evolving. And change is always good, but sometimes change can be too good sometimes change
Yeah.
can be too bad. So, but in
Yeah.
your case, it always went good. It was going in the right direction. So, how do you
Good.
feel about all these things?
Well, with us, there's very powerful things that are achieved through certain kinds of music, and it can be a bit confusing for the fans because, we get a lot of the time we get told that, like, pick a lane and stick with it. Like, are you a death metal band? Are you a black metal band? Are you a grindcore band?
Yeah.
And, we've always been in the way of, we don't really put up any of those filters. If there's a section of a song that needs a big doomy, slow part, just because it's a death metal song doesn't mean that we can't put that in there, and we've over the years been able to figure out how to piece all that together relatively seamlessly, as far as our songwriting is concerned. We try to keep it, we always say keeping it withered, and that's, to us, that just means honoring our influences, not copying anybody, not like blatantly ripping anything off, but it's okay to pay homage and honor the stuff that influences you while still keeping the true core essence of what the band is and what it's about and what we want to do. So yeah, I mean, it's a natural change.
Yeah.
And considering that, Grief Relic was 2016, and before that was Dualitas, and that was 2010. So, it's been 10 years, 6 years since the last record.
Yeah.
And like I said, with Dan and Rafe joining, it's, we wanted to, we all have to be okay with what's happening with the music. It's not like Mike and I write all the stuff and then just say, oh, play this. Everybody has their input.
Yeah.
So, if you've noticed through the years, we've had different lineups, relatively speaking, throughout the 5 records, and each record has a little different touch, and I think it's just a natural progression to want to challenge yourself and do something different, but try to really stay focused on what you stand for as a band. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That sounds good. And August 6th, you're going to be doing a show in your hometown. And moving forward, so what would be the plans for touring this year or probably early next year?
We've got a few things in the works. Nothing is tied down yet. We're still trying to figure that out. It's still pretty difficult trying to book everything, and as soon as everything opens up, every single band, they're all trying to get out there and get on the road. So we do have a date booked for New York. I want to say at the end of November or the beginning of December. And I believe that could potentially be the start of a run for us. So we might do a small run in October, just a quick couple, like a weekender thing, maybe with another band. And then we're looking at, hopefully, like I said, maybe the end of November, December, to do something to actually get out and get on the road again.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's been quite a while since you guys are making music. So how has the journey been for you guys?
We took some time off after we wrote the record. We had just done Europe, actually. We did a month-long run with Cannabis Corpse in Europe in January of 2020. And then as soon as we got home, we had already had the record put together. So as soon as we got home from that tour, we took a week or so off to be with family, and we jumped right into the studio and created that record. Like I said, basically right before the pandemic shut everything down. We were actually finishing up vocals in the studio when everything was kind of happening. And once that happened, nobody really knew what was going on. So practice, there was no practice. Everything was kind of canceled. We all just kind of, waited it out and waited to see what would happen. It was a pretty intense moment when we finally were able to get back together in the practice space, masks and everything. But to actually be able to be there together in the same room, it took months. It took months to get to that point. But I mean, it was so magical because at that point we hadn't even played some of those songs on that record as a band. We had played through a few, like I said, we had written Dissolve, years prior. But so that was really special to be able to get back to it. And, we all play at home. I'm a drummer and I have I'm sitting behind my practice drum set right now, actually, and it's in my place, and I teach drum lessons, and I try to stay pretty busy with that. I play every day if I can, and I know the other guys do too. And we're constantly pooling riffs and sharing that back and forth with one another. And so even though that everything shut down, we were definitely still active.
It sounds good. Sounds good. And can you tell me some of the greatest moments that you had over the years?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been very fortunate to tour with a lot of really good bands through the years. I can name so many. We did a run with on the Grief Relic tour cycle. We got to go out with Morbid Angel and Suffocation and Revocation. That was really special for us to be able to be a part of that one. We've done a lot of really amazing black metal tours. We got to do a run with Watain, Mayhem, all those big, really important black metal bands. And we've been really fortunate, and we've kind of been able to play with, I guess, because of our music and what we do, it's, we can kind of cross over different aspects of the metal scene. We can play for a death metal crowd, we can play for a black metal crowd, we can play for a grindcore crowd. So sharing the stage and those moments with those bands is, that's why we all started this. As being kids listening to And Justice for All and all the old school metal records. And, you just know, when I was 12 years old, I knew that I wanted to tour. I didn't understand what it was, but I knew I wanted to do that. I knew I wanted to be with my friends playing music and touring the world. So, we're very fortunate to be able to do that. It's crazy being out there. It's putting all your emotions out there for people, and all this hard work that you've put into these records and this music, and then being able to share that. The live experience for me is, it's there's nothing else like it. I've never felt a feeling like that, being able to play live and sharing that emotion with people. It's incredible. Yeah.
That's awesome. And what would be the next plans for the band?
Well, we're planning this touring cycle. We would love to, there's talks of a potential European tour, maybe in the beginning few months of the year, next year. And like I said, we're going to get out as much as we can. We're doing maybe a little something in October, and definitely going to do something in December. So, and we've got riffs. Like I said, we kind of constantly are writing and saving and holding on to riffs and ideas. And especially nowadays with the technology, it's so easy to share ideas back and forth through emails and all that. So you don't even have to be in the same room nowadays to be able to share that. And it's pretty incredible to use that technology. So we've been taking advantage of that. We just want to keep the steam going. Just, this record is just really special for us, and it's it's gotten a lot of good praise from
Yeah.
industry folk and all that, and even fans. I've gotten some really close friends of mine. Actually, one of the greatest moments that happened recently was our original founding member, Chris Freeman,
Yeah.
and Wes Keever, the drummer and guitar player, the original drummer and guitar player of Withered, actually phoned Mike Thompson on the same day, and unknown to each other, and they were both incredibly blown away by the new record, and they were both like, this is everything I could have ever imagined Withered could become, and so that alone is enough of a compliment for me, Yeah. So that's a very special thing, and that, for them to both call separately on the same day and say the same thing like that, that's quite incredible to hear that from the original guys in the band, and so all of our friends are blown away, and we've been getting great reviews, and we're happy with that because we put a lot of work into this one.
That's awesome. And what would be your dream band that you really want to go on a tour with?
Oh wow, offhand, like a couple offhand, I would definitely say Neurosis.
Mm-hmm.
Neurosis would be a big one for us. Napalm Death. We've been really big fans of them for a while, and I think that would be quite an incredible run. There's so many bands that we would love to be out with. Metallica. Why not? But mainly like Neurosis and Napalm Death and those kind of bands, like that would just be something really extra special for us. So you never know. We always keep it open, and like I said, we've been able and fortunate enough to tour with a multitude of different kinds of bands, so we're pretty open to that.
That's awesome. Nice to hear that. And there are so many bands these days, like any nook of corner you go, there are bands that have been creating on every single day, so many bands around the world. Good bands, great bands are coming up. So in this kind of scenario, how you guys are trying to get a name for Withered around the world?
Well, nowadays it's a lot of the streaming sites like the Spotify and Apple Music and all that kind of stuff. And, it's been so long since we put out the last record. And then, like I said, it was long before that, the 2 records ago was 2010. It was 11 years ago. So there's always new fans, young fans that are growing up and listening. And I believe everything, goes in circles. So, I feel like as a band like us, if, us just sticking to our guns and doing what we know that we want to do and how we want to sound, that over time, that's going to stick, and so hopefully with this new one, we get some new fans, some younger fans that can go back and say, oh shit, okay, they've got 4 prior albums to this. I had no idea, and that's the thing, like with us a lot of the time is, we get told all the time, like how are you guys not more well known? Like you're a secret, like little hidden gem inside of this metal realm, and and it's quite a compliment. We love to hear that, but it's like I said, it's we've always been praised by industry and stuff like that for being creative and doing our own thing, and it doesn't necessarily cross over with the fans, like I said, because it's don't mix your black metal with my death metal or your doom metal with my grindcore. It can be hard for people, and I understand that. We all do, but that's not going to change what we do. We're gonna do what we do anyway. But we hope that people can discover, maybe listen to this new one and enjoy it enough to discover some of our back catalog and realize that we've been on this path for a really long time.
Absolutely. And what's more special about Withered is like when you start playing the record, you can't get off. Like you just sit there and you just enjoy the music. It's not like some bands like they do the same, it keeps on going the same way. But Withered is
Yeah.
not like it's something different. It's like every song is like it's connected and it has a different way of making the sounds are much distinct, and it used the listener to enjoy and go through the music with the flow of the music, and it makes the listener to enjoy the complete record. It's not just picking up this that it is not happening here. So that's a fantastic thing you guys are doing, and thank you so much for that.
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of us are, Rafe is the young boy of the group, but a lot of us are from the cassette era, and you listen to whole albums back then. That was that was a thing, and it was hard to skip around and get to different songs and stuff. So you ended up listening to whole records like that. And a lot of my favorite records of all time are I can listen through beginning to end, and I enjoy the whole thing as a piece of art. And so we've always had that in mind when we write. We've always wanted to create an album experience. Sometimes more than others, and with this one especially, I think that we. Like when that concept came together, the Verloren, the loss, we had, and the funny thing with this one too is that, a lot of times we write song, and then piece them together how we feel that the album should progress. Well, this one was a little different because each song just kind of happened. So we already knew how the album was going to be start to finish while we were, it just kind of naturally fell into place. There wasn't much thought put into how the record was going to flow because we almost had written the songs in a way that it had the flow already. We knew that it was going to end up with the From Ashen Shores. We knew that that B-side was going to be an emotional part of the record. And we knew that the first part of the record was just going to be, just that different song to song structure. And we've always been very mindful of that, about keeping it fresh and not putting too much of the same thing. We want to just really pull you in all different directions, and you never know what's going to come next. You never know what to expect. And that's one of our biggest compliments is like people genuinely don't know what's coming next. And they get like you finish the first track by Tooth and Tongue, and then it drops right into the Predation, which is way more crusty punk, blasty stuff. And it's just like, yeah, wow. Even still, like I listened to this record thousands of times already, through these years, and I can still put it on and listen to it as a whole and just really enjoy it for what we did. So
that's absolutely amazing. And finally, what would be the message you will have for the fans around the world?
The message, just thank you for the support through the years. We're always progressing. We're always changing. We're a band that is 100% dedicated to our fans. Our whole sole purpose is to write records to go on tour. That's it. We just want to tour. We want to be in front of the people. We want to, spend time with our fans, and, and it's more about creating an emotion rather than just music. We want to really, a group of 20 people, 30 people at a show, if a few of those people really feel what we're going for, that's enough for us. Like that's, our intentions are to just really, really touch you on that emotional level, and so, yeah, we're so thankful for all the praise for this record. And, we have a new lineup with Rafe and Dan, and we're really excited to continue on and write some more stuff for that. And, I really would like to get back to a quicker cycle. It's taken us 6 years since the last record to write. And I'd love to shorten that a bit and put out some albums. And, like I said, we've been stockpiling riffs, and, we've already got that planned out. So hopefully that can happen. I think things will be pretty busy as far as shows are concerned now that everything's opening back up. So you can look forward to seeing us quite a bit coming up. So thanks again for everything. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And finally, thank you so much for putting up an amazing album this year called Verloren, and it was a brilliant record. And I hope, like I enjoyed, I hope every fan and every musician, every listeners and musicians who are going to listen to this record is going to enjoy this album. And thank you so much for the efforts and the music you're creating. Thank you so much for that. And thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah, no, it's no problem. Anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a good day ahead. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks.